The first time I realized my wedding invitation had been used like a coupon, I was standing in front of a laminated seating chart, staring at an empty place card that still smelled like fresh ink, and I stayed quiet while something inside me cracked, because how does a person RSVP yes, accept everything, and still vanish when the music starts? My name is Greer, I am 25, and I work as a surgical nurse, the kind of job that teaches you to breathe through panic without letting your hands shake. We planned a small destination wedding in Isla Mujeres, Mexico, not because we were trying to be flashy, but because my husband Reed's aunt had a little beachfront property there, and the idea of getting married barefoot in warm sand felt like peace after a rough year. Reed and I made one big decision that felt generous and safe at the time. Our parents covered their own flights and rooms, but we would cover travel and lodging for a handful of close friends. No one would be left out because of money. We wanted our people there, period. That is how Kala ended up on the guest list, with a paid plane ticket and a reserved hotel room. Kala and I had been friends since high school. 10 years of inside jokes, late-night phone calls, and the kind of history that makes you think she would never hurt me on purpose. She had just gotten married to a guy named Hudson, and she kept talking about how exhausted they were, how bills had piled up, how they did not get a honeymoon, how life was already heavier than it should be. When I texted her the travel details, she responded with a string of hearts and, "I cannot believe you are doing this, I am going to cry." Then she added, "We will be there early. We will help set up, I swear." I believed her. The months before the wedding were a blur of small decisions that felt enormous. Color swatches, guest list drama, vendor calls during my lunch breaks. I made spreadsheets at 3 o'clock in the morning. I triple-checked everything, because when you are paying for other people's travel, you start thinking like an accountant and a mother at the same time. Kala was in the group chat every day, sending swimsuit screenshots, asking if she should bring wedges, laughing about how Hudson was already practicing his dance moves. She even asked what time the ceremony started so she could set an alarm. So when the week finally arrived, I felt nervous in a good way, the kind of nervous that smells like hairspray and salt air. The first twist came on the day everyone flew out. At the airport, Kala posted a selfie with a tropical filter. Her boarding pass angled just enough to show she was actually going. Caption, "We are doing this." She tagged me and wrote, "See you soon, bride." But what she did not post was Hudson. I noticed it right away, not because I am nosy, but because I know what her smile looks like when she is acting. It is slightly too wide, like she is holding something back. I texted her, "Where is Hudson?" She replied fast, "Bathroom, he is fine. He hates airports." Okay, I wrote, and I tried to let it go. People arrived in waves, friends hugging in the lobby, my mom crying every time she saw someone new, Reed's dad making jokes about how he was going to get sunburned even in the shade. The energy was exactly what I had pictured. Kala arrived at the hotel that evening. She looked incredible, like a glossy version of herself. Hair done, nails perfect, new sandals. She hugged me tight and said, "Greer, this is unreal. You look like a movie." Hudson was behind her, pulling a suitcase, not smiling. He shook my hand like he was checking a box. I tried not to read into it. Some people are just weird in crowds. Some people need time. The night before the wedding, we had a welcome dinner on the beach, lanterns, soft music, everyone in linen. I wore a white dress that made me feel like the version of myself I wanted to be. Kala and Hudson sat at the edge of the group, whispering to each other. When I walked over, Kala stood up too quickly, like she had been caught doing something. "Everything okay?" I asked. She laughed. "Yeah, he is just tired. Travel." Hudson did not look tired. He looked annoyed. Later, when I went to the bar to grab a water, I heard Hudson's voice behind me, low and sharp. "I am telling you, Kala, I did not sign up to spend my week watching her be the center of attention." I froze with my hand on the glass. The bartender asked if I wanted ice, and I nodded like nothing was happening. My throat tightened so hard it almost hurt. Kala said something I could not hear. Her voice was soft, pleading. Hudson's response was clearer. "We already got here. We already got the room. We can do our own thing. Nobody can force me to go sit in a chair and clap." I walked away before they noticed me. I smiled at someone who asked if I was excited. I said yes. I said all the right words. But inside, a small warning light turned on. The morning of the wedding was bright and windy, the kind of weather that makes everything feel alive. My bridesmaids were in matching robes, laughing, taking pictures, sipping coffee. I was trying to stay calm, telling myself, "You planned this. You deserve to enjoy it." Kala was supposed to be with us early, helping with last-minute details. She was also supposed to bring the little emergency bag. I had asked her to pack because she was the most organized person I knew, but she was not there. I texted her, "You up?" No response. I tried again, "Hey, I need you. Are you on your way?" Still nothing. My stomach started doing that slow sinking thing. I checked the time, then checked it again like looking could change reality. One of my bridesmaids said, "Maybe she is showering. Relax." So I tried. I breathed. I let the makeup artist dust my cheeks while my hands felt colder and colder. Then the ceremony time came. Guests took their seats. The chairs faced the ocean. The aisle was lined with flowers and palm leaves. The officiant stood under the arch, smiling, flipping through his notes. And in the second row, right where Kala and Hudson's seats were supposed to be, 2 chairs sat empty like a quiet insult. I stood behind the little wooden gate that kept the beach path closed until I walked out. I could hear the music starting. I could hear my dad breathing beside me, nervous and proud. I leaned toward my maid of honor and whispered, "Where is Kala?" She glanced toward the chairs and her expression shifted, confused, then concerned. "I do not know," she whispered back. My phone buzzed. For 1 second, relief washed over me. It has to be her. But it was a message from Kala's number that made my skin go hot. "Hey, we are not coming. Hudson does not feel like doing the wedding thing. We are just going to do our own day today." No apology, no explanation, just that. I stared at the screen, and the world narrowed down to those words. I could hear my own heartbeat. I could feel my dad's hand on my arm, steady, waiting for the cue to walk me down the aisle. I swallowed everything I wanted to say. I did not cry. I did not yell. I did not let anyone see my face change. I typed one word, "Okay." Then I put my phone down down, lifted my chin, and walked into my own wedding like nothing had happened. I smiled through the vows. I laughed at the parts that were supposed to be funny. I kissed Reed and everyone cheered, and for a moment, the happiness was real enough to hold me up. But every time I looked at the ocean, all I could think was that Calla was somewhere on that same island, sipping a drink, wearing a swimsuit, using my wedding like a free vacation. At the reception, people asked where Calla was. I kept my answer simple. They decided not to make it. I said it calmly, like it did not matter, like it was no big deal. That calmness was my first move, because when you stay calm, people get comfortable. They get careless. Around sunset, I saw a photo tagged online. Calla had posted it publicly like she was proud. Her and Hudson on a boat tour, smiling wide, holding up 2 drinks. Caption, finally our honeymoon. My honeymoon. I watched the likes climb while I stood in a white gown, surrounded by my own guests, feeling a kind of humiliation that does not scream. It just burns quietly. I set my phone down, walked to the bar, and asked the bartender for a napkin and a pen. Reed came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. He kissed my shoulder. You okay? He asked softly. I leaned into him and said, I am fine, but my mind was already somewhere else. Not in rage, not in tears, in details. Flights, hotel receipts, the messages, the way she worded it, the way she admitted it without realizing it was evidence. I started writing a list on the napkin, small and neat, like I was taking notes at work. Dates, names, what was paid, what was promised, what was used. Then my maid of honor touched my arm. Greer, she whispered, you need to see this. She held up her phone and my chest tightened as I read the screenshot. It was a message Calla had sent her earlier that day, right after skipping my ceremony. Do not tell Greer the truth. Just say we got sick. I do not want her to ruin our trip. I stared at that line until the letters blurred. Quick pause, this part is for me. Some nights I am editing and I want to quit. But then I see your comments and I keep going. Like, subscribe, and tell me your city, state, or country. Okay, continuing. I took a slow breath and looked up at the dance floor, where Calla's empty chair still sat at the table with her name card, untouched. Then I smiled, the same calm smile I used with difficult patience. And I told my maid of honor very quietly, send me that screenshot. And do not block her. Not yet. Because I was not going to ruin their trip. I was going to let them enjoy every second of it. And then I was going to make them pay for it in a way they would not see coming. The screenshot landed in my inbox like a loaded weapon. I stared at it for a few seconds longer than normal, because part of me still wanted it to be a misunderstanding. But the words were clean, simple, cold. Do not tell Greer the truth. Just say we got sick. I felt my face stay calm, even though my stomach twisted. Waverly, my maid of honor, leaned in close. Her voice was barely air. What do you want me to do? I swallowed, then whispered back, nothing. Keep acting normal. I could tell she wanted to argue. She wanted to go into protective best friend mode, but I shook my head once, small, controlled. If Calla thought she could use me and then rewrite the story, the last thing I was gonna do was give her an emotional reaction she could frame as me being dramatic. I had learned something in the hospital. The loudest patient gets attention first. The quiet one gets overlooked, and the quiet one is usually the one bleeding, so I stayed quiet. The rest of the reception moved around me like a bright, noisy film. Reed and I danced. My mom cried. People clapped. Someone spilled a drink and laughed too hard. I smiled when people spoke to me, and I listened like a normal bride. But inside, I was cataloging everything like evidence. Calla's messages, her public post, the time she vanished, her plan to lie, every detail. Later that night, after the last song, Reed and I finally got back to our room. The hotel hallway smelled like sunscreen and night air. My feet hurt. My hair felt heavy with pins. Reed shut the door, and the moment it clicked, he turned to me and said, okay, tell me what happened. I sat on the edge of the bed and handed him my phone. He read the messages once, then again. His jaw tightened. She used our wedding as their honeymoon, he said slowly, like he could not believe his own sentence. I nodded. And she wanted people to think she was sick so I would not get mad. Reed's eyes flicked up. Are you mad? I stared at the wall for a second, then said the truth. I am humiliated. I am hurt. And I do not want to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. He sat beside me. He reached for my hand. What do you want to do? I took a breath. I want my money back. He did not flinch. He did not say let it go. He did not tell me it was petty. He just nodded once. Okay, then we do it clean. That was the moment my sadness sharpened into something steadier, something focused. I opened my notes app and started a folder titled Calla. Not dramatic, not emotional, just organized. I created sections the way I would for a patient, chart, travel, lodging, messages, screenshots, witnesses. Then I messaged Waverly. Email me everything. The screenshot. Any text, everything. Within minutes, she sent a full thread. And that was the second twist. Because in the thread, Calla was not just trying to lie about being sick. She was bragging. She had written, we deserve this. Greer can afford it. She acts like she is better than everyone anyway. I read that line twice, my throat going tight. I am not rich. I am a nurse. Reed works in software, yes, but we budget. We save. We say no to things so we can say yes to others. We paid for our friends because we wanted them there. Because we thought it would mean something. Calla had twisted generosity into entitlement. Reed exhaled slowly through his nose. She is going to say you offered it as a gift. I know, I said. So I am going to prove it was conditional. He looked at me. Conditional? I nodded and opened another email thread. Months earlier, I had sent the travel details with one line at the end that I almost forgot I wrote. We are covering this so you can be there with us on the day. That is all we want. It was not a contract, but it was intent. It was context. It was proof that it was not a free vacation. It was tied to showing up. I forwarded that email to myself and flagged it. Then I did something else. Quiet, careful. I checked the hotel reservation because when we booked the rooms, rooms, the hotel required an incidental card at check-in. We had covered the room itself, but anything extra was on the guest. I pulled up the confirmation and found the front desk contact. I wrote a polite message. Hi, this is Greer. I booked a room under Calla's name. I just want to confirm check-in and check-out dates and any charges placed on the room. I made sure it sounded like a normal question. No accusation, no drama. Within an hour, the hotel manager replied, yes, Ms. Greer, they checked in. They requested a late checkout and asked about extending their stay. Also, their incidental card declined for a boat excursion charge. We were planning to contact the guest tomorrow. My fingers went still on the screen. So not only did they skip my wedding, they were trying to extend the trip, and they were charging things they could not cover. I looked at Reed. He saw my face change. What? He asked. I handed him the email. He read it, then laughed once, sharp and humorless. So they are broke and shameless. I felt a strange calm settle in, not relief, not joy, certainty. Because people like Calla always rely on one thing. They rely on you being too nice to make it real. They rely on you being embarrassed to talk about money. They rely on you caring about how you look more than what is fair. And I was done carrying that. The next morning, we met Reed's aunt for breakfast on the patio. She was still glowing from the wedding. She kept saying how beautiful everything was, how proud she was of us. I waited until she finished her coffee, then I said casually, did you see Calla at the ceremony? Reed's aunt frowned. No, I assumed she had a flight issue. I made my voice light. No flight issue. She was here. She just chose not to come. Her mouth opened slightly. What do you mean? I did not rant. I did not exaggerate. I simply showed her the public post Calla made, the one where she called it her honeymoon. Reed's aunt's face hardened. That is disgusting. I shrugged, like I was talking about the weather. I am not going to fight with her. I am just going to handle it. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Tell me what you need. That was another small twist. I realized something important. Calla was not just disrespecting me. She had disrespected everyone who showed up, everyone who spent money, everyone who honored us. And people did not like that. That afternoon, I did the least emotional thing possible. I wrote Calla a message. Hey, I hope you are enjoying the island. When you are back home, we need to talk about reimbursement for the flight and lodging we covered. I have the receipts saved. Let me know how you want to handle it. No insults, no threats, no anger, just facts. She did not respond for hours. Then her reply came, bright and casual, like she was texting about brunch. Greer, seriously? We are on vacation. Can you not do this right now? Vacation. I read the word and felt my lips pressed together. I replied, okay, we can discuss it when you get home. And then I stopped texting because I wanted her relaxed. I wanted her careless. That night, Waverly called me, whispering like she was sharing gossip. She is posting nonstop. Let her, I said. Then Waverly's voice shifted. Greer, she is also telling people you are mad because she did not spend enough time with you. My stomach tightened. Who is she telling? Two girls from the old friend group. And she is making it sound like you are being controlling. I closed my eyes for a second. There it was. The rewrite. The real betrayal was not the skipped wedding. It was the story she would tell afterward. Because if she could turn me into the villain, she would never have to feel guilty. I opened my folder again. Messages, posts, the hotel email, the screenshot. Then I did my quietest move yet. I took a screen recording of her honeymoon post, scrolling slowly, showing the date, the caption, the location tag, the comments. I made sure it was impossible for her to delete it and pretend it never existed. Then I saved everything in 2 places. And then I did something that felt almost gentle. I sent one more message. I saw your post. I am glad you are safe. We will handle the travel reimbursement when you return. She replied immediately this time. Why are you being like this? You offered it. You cannot take it back. Also, Hudson had anxiety, okay? He could not do the wedding thing. Anxiety. I stared at that word, and for a split second, guilt tried to creep in. Then I remembered Hudson's voice at the bar. I did not sign up to spend my week watching her be the center of attention. That was not anxiety. That was contempt. And Calla was using a serious word like a shield. I replied with one sentence. I understand. We will handle it formally when you are home. Formally. I could almost feel her reading that and getting nervous. Because people like Calla only know how to play games and conversations. They panic when things move to paper. The next morning, Reed and I were checking out when the front desk clerk stopped us. Ms. Greer? I turned. She lowered her voice. We tried contacting your guest in room 12. Their incidental card declined again. They are asking to extend, but we cannot authorize it without payment. I nodded calmly. Thank you for letting me know. Reed and I walked out into the sun, our luggage rolling behind us. In the car, Reed said, do you want me to call her? I shook my head. No. If we call, she will argue. She will cry. She will twist it. He watched me. So what are you going to do? I looked out the window at the bright blue water, at tourists laughing, at the place that was supposed to be pure happiness for me. And I said quietly, I am going to let her keep enjoying the honeymoon she stole. Reed's eyebrows lifted. I turned to him and finished the thought, my voice steady, because I want her to come home smiling. I want her to think she got away with it. And then I want her to open her mailbox and realize she underestimated me. I did not send anything while Calla was still on the island. I let her post her sunsets. I let her post her drinks. I let her tag the beach like it belonged to her. I even watched her stories without reacting, because I wanted her to feel untouchable. Then Reed and I flew home and stepped back into real life, laundry, work schedules, bills, quiet after a wedding. When everyone else moves on and you are left with the emotional debris. I went back to the hospital 2 days later. The first patient I had was anxious and trembling, and I held her hand while she cried, and I realized how good I had gotten at being steady for other people. That night, I sat at our kitchen table with my laptop open, my notes folder pulled up, and a cup of tea that went cold beside me. I did not write an angry message. I wrote a letter. It was simple, calm, professional. I stated what we paid for, the flight and the hotel. I stated why we paid for it, to have our friends present at our wedding. I stated what happened, that she checked in and stayed, but did not attend the ceremony or reception. I attached receipts. I attached the screenshot of her telling Waverly to lie. I attached the screen recording of her honeymoon post. Then I gave her a deadline to reimburse us, not because I thought she would suddenly grow a conscience, because deadlines create pressure. Pressure creates mistakes. Read read it once and nodded. This is clean. I printed it. I signed it. I mailed it in a way that required a signature, so she could not pretend she never received it. Then I did the quietest part. I did nothing else. I went to work. I answered texts from family. I smiled when people asked about the wedding. I posted my own photos like a normal newlywed. I let Kala's world stay comfortable. 4 days later, she finally responded. She did not call me. She sent a long message full of dramatic language and soft blame. She said I was punishing her for her husband's anxiety. She said I was ruining her happiness. She said I had offered the trip, so it was a gift. She said I was acting like money mattered more than friendship. I read it twice. Then I replied with 3 words. Please see letter. That was it. Another day passed. Then she tried a different tactic. She called my mother. My mom answered because she did not know the situation yet. She still thought Kala was the girl who used to sleep over and braid my hair. My mom called me afterward, confused. Sweetheart, she said slowly. Kala says you are demanding money because she missed the wedding due to a panic attack. She sounded so upset. Is that true? I felt heat rise in my chest, but I kept my voice gentle. Mom, I am going to send you something. Please just look at it. I forwarded her the screenshot and the post. There was a long pause on the line. Then my mom's voice changed, not loud, just icy. Oh, she said. So she did not miss it because she was sick. No, I said. She missed it because they wanted a free honeymoon. My mom exhaled once. I am sorry. I should not have answered. It is okay, I said. I wanted you to know the truth anyway. When I hung up, I stared at the wall for a second. Kala had not just stolen money. She had tried to recruit my mother into making me feel guilty. And that was when something in me clicked into place. This was not a misunderstanding. This was a pattern. Reed came home from work and found me at the table again. He looked at my face and asked, what did she do now? I told him. He set his keys down slowly. Okay, then we stopped waiting. The next morning, I filed in small claims. I did not post about it. I did not warn anyone. I did not tell mutual friends because I did not want it to become gossip. I wanted it to be paper. I included every receipt, every message, every screenshot. I wrote a short summary of facts. I printed a photo of the seating chart with her name and the empty chairs because something about that image still made my throat tighten. Then I served her the notice. The second twist came the week after. Kala texted me, suddenly sweet. Hey, can we talk? I miss you. I hate how this feels. I could almost hear her voice, the one she used when she wanted something. I typed, sure, we can talk after you reimburse us. Her reply came fast and sharp. You are unbelievable. You are actually trying to take me to court over your wedding. Do you want everyone to know you are that kind of person? I stared at the screen and I felt my mouth go dry, not from fear, but from clarity. She was not sorry. She was threatened, and threatened people do reckless things. 2 days later, Waverly called me, breathless. She posted, she said. What did she post? I asked, already knowing it would be something messy. She posted this whole story about how you are harassing her for money and how her husband had a mental health crisis and you are heartless. People are commenting. She is letting them drag you. My stomach tightened, but my hands stayed steady. Send it to me, I said. Waverly sent a screen recording. I watched it once, then again. Kala had written paragraphs about how I was obsessed with appearances, how I demanded a perfect wedding, how she had been my friend for years and I turned on her, how she was a victim. And she had left out one detail. She forgot she had publicly called it her honeymoon. She forgot she had told someone to lie. She forgot that evidence does not care about feelings. I saved everything. Then I did something I did not expect myself to do. I blocked her, not as revenge, as a boundary. If she wanted to speak, she could speak through the process she forced me into. The court date came quicker than I expected. I wore a plain blouse and slacks, the same kind of outfit I would wear to a serious meeting at the hospital. I pulled my hair back. I kept my face neutral. Kala walked in late like she was making an entrance. Hudson followed, hands in pockets, looking bored. Kala looked around the room and did that thing where her eyes widened like she was trying to look innocent before anyone even accused her. She sat across from me and whispered, loud enough for me to hear, I cannot believe you did this. I did not respond. The judge called our case. I stood when told. I spoke when asked. I kept it simple. I explained that we paid for her flight and lodging to attend our wedding, that she used the travel and room but chose not to attend, and admitted in writing that she wanted to lie about it, that she publicly labeled the trip as her honeymoon, that we asked for reimbursement privately first and she refused. The judge turned to Kala. Is this accurate? Kala started crying instantly. It was like watching a switch flip. She said her husband had anxiety. She said she felt pressured. She said she thought it was a gift. She said I was punishing her for not being perfect. The judge listened, then asked one question. Did you attend the ceremony? Kala hesitated. No. Did you use the flight and lodging that were paid for? Yes. Did you request to extend your stay at the hotel? Kala blinked. How would you know that? The judge looked down at the papers. It is in the documentation. Kala's face shifted. Hudson's eyes narrowed. The judge turned to the screen recording printout I had included. And you posted that this was your honeymoon. Kala's mouth opened, then closed. For the first time, she looked small. Not because she felt remorse. Because she realized she could not talk her way around proof. The judge's tone stayed even. This court is not here to evaluate friendship. It is here to evaluate reimbursement for a cost incurred under a specific expectation. You accepted the paid travel and lodging and did not fulfill the purpose for which it was provided. Kala whispered, "That is not fair." The judge did not react to her emotion. "You are ordered to reimburse the plaintiff for the documented costs." Kala turned toward me, eyes sharp through the tears like she wanted me to flinch. I did not. I felt my heartbeat, slow and steady, like it was finally matching the calm I had forced all along. Outside the courtroom, Hudson hissed under his breath, "You really did all this." I looked at him and I spoke softly, not angry, not loud. "I did not do this," I said. "You did." Kala stepped forward like she wanted a last dramatic moment. "So that is it? 10 years and you throw it away over money?" I stared at her for a second and I realized something sad. She truly believed the money was the problem. Not the betrayal, not the lie, not the humiliation, just the money. I took a breath and said, "You threw it away the second you decided my wedding was your honeymoon." Then I walked away. The final twist came a month later. A check arrived in the mail, but it was not the full amount. She had paid part of it like she was trying to stay in control. Along with the check, she included a handwritten note. It said, "I hope you are happy. Everyone knows what kind of person you are now." I read it once, then set it down. And that was when Reed slid his phone across the table to me. He had a message from a mutual acquaintance. "Hey, just so you know, Kala has been telling people you lost in court and that you are still begging her for money. She is saying you are obsessed with her." I stared at the message and I felt a strange, quiet amusement because she had forgotten one thing. Court records are public, so I did not argue with her. I did not defend myself in a group chat. I did not write a long explanation. I simply requested the official judgment copy, scanned it, and sent it to the one person who mattered most in our old circle, the friend everyone listened to. No caption, no emotion, just the truth. Within hours, Kala's post disappeared. Her comments were turned off. And then she texted me one last time from a different number. "Are you trying to ruin my life?" I stared at the screen, and for the first time in weeks, I felt my chest loosen because I was not ruining her life. I was just removing the mask she wore to keep using people. I did not respond. I blocked that number too. Then I folded the judgment copy and put it in the same folder as our wedding photos because it belonged there as part of the real story. Now, stepping out of the story for a minute, here is what I learned from all of this. Some people are not loyal. They are just comfortable. They stay close as long as you are useful. And the second you expect basic respect, they act like you are attacking them. That is why they rewrite the story. It is not about you. It is how they survive their own choices. And if you are the kind of person who tries to be fair, who tries to be generous, you can get trapped in this loop where you keep explaining yourself, hoping they will finally understand. They understand. They just do not care. The quiet power is when you stop debating and start documenting. When you stop chasing closure from them and build it for yourself. When you accept that your calm is not weakness, it is control. I did not win because I yelled louder. I won because I stayed steady long enough for the truth to stand on its own. And the best part is, I do not have to hate her. I just have to never let her near my life again. She wanted a free honeymoon, and what she got instead was a permanent receipt with her name on it.